All right, everyone, welcome back. We are live. My name's Adu. This is the Unconventional Mindset. And every day we get together here, we live stream and we talk about and we build stuff. And we just generally are trying to figure out how the hell we're going to build ourselves a company that's going to generate us $1 million in revenue every single year. And we want to do it the right way. Don't want to be spammy. Don't want to sell a bunch of garbage. Not trying to make a pyramid scheme or a Ponzi scheme or anything like that. We just want to be totally legit, provide value for people, and build a company that's I want to say stand the test of time or whatever, but something like that. And of course, one of the things that we're working on this quite a bit, is Piixel Pieces. This is our WEBFLOW template and component library. And yeah, so this has kind of been the big thing. But what I wanted to talk about today is really about, I guess, the company or the organization, whatever, that kind of started everything. So back when I quit my job, which was back in September of 2022 now, which is crazy, getting on, be like a 2-year anniversary coming up, I decided to just go on my own and just offer my services out there to people, which is primarily doing website design and development, and also a bunch of different creative services, whether that's just design, like PowerPoint presentations, PDF flyers, things like that. And also any kind of like AV work, because obviously, I love doing video stuff, filming videos, doing audio work as well too, and generally AV stuff. So I've done some like live events and things like that. And so I've just kind of been like, if somebody calls me up or what have you, I would just, be happy to kind of take on any work, right? As anybody who's just going out on their own, happy to do whatever comes your way. So what I've been thinking about quite like just lately is, what do I do with Piixel, which is kind of like my main thing, right? Piixel Pieces has spun out from my need for creating components that I use on a daily basis with my clients, so that I can just go about and just have my own things that I can do for my clients. So it's building those components. So it's helpful for me. So I'm hoping it's going to be helpful for other entrepreneurs. But it doesn't really change or it doesn't really guide what I should do with Piixel, right? What I should do with my main company. And that's what I wanted to just kind of talk about today, because there's a couple problems that I have with it. Number one, since this site has been live, which has been since 2022, actually it hasn't been, I shouldn't say that's a lie. I don't know exactly when it went live, but it's been at least over a year since this site has been online. Anyways, not one person has gotten in touch with me through this website to ask me for work. So number one, obviously I'm not promoting this website, but also no one has just found me just by going through here. So it's all been word of mouth or people that kind of already know me. So, and I also think another problem that I have with this website, welcome, a full service creative agency that builds, manages, and grows WEBFLOW websites. So it is narrowed down in the sense that it is just for WEBFLOW websites, but I don't think that it's really, I don't think I've really narrowed down into a specific niche that I think I probably should. So we're talking about, get a website in 5 days. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad website by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously I'm not doing stuff to market myself. And then we have the different plans here. So it's not bad. But anyways, I wanted to just take a moment and just walk you guys through, I guess, kind of what I'm thinking about what to do with Piixel. Because I don't know, I don't, my main focus is on Piixel Pieces right now. And I do want to put in almost all of my effort into making sure that that's going to work. But the way that Piixel and Piixel Pieces has helped me over the past year or what have you, is that Piixel has generated the clients, which has generated the revenue, which allows me to have time to kind of work on this thing, Piixel Pieces, kind of on the side. But what I would really love to do was I would love to build Piixel Pieces into something, into the thing that could drive me moving forward, and that could help bring in the revenue that I need to sustain myself and my family, and to really build a company that I think is going to last a really long time, but is also a company that is not going to need to be as dependent on getting new clients as an agency would. You know, for example, if an agency, if you're building, like say you're just an agency that does motion graphics for like Hollywood, as an example. You know, Hollywood goes on strike or whatever. They're like, right now they're severely cutting down how many movies they're making or whatever. So all of a sudden you could be hurting to try to get clients to build animations for or what have you. So that's kind of a risk that an agency has, is that you need to have new people to do work for in order for you to, you know, keep the lights on, basically. Yes, still the same case for something like Piixel Pieces. You're still going to need clients to come in the door. But it's a little bit different because you're selling a product so much as selling a service. So, and of course, big ticket services, I guess same thing with big ticket products, can be difficult enough to continue to have to sell. Anyways, all that being said, is I don't know what I've been thinking about how I can take Piixel and maybe pivot it in a way that, number one, gives me more clarity on the target audience that I'm looking for, and number two, brings in enough revenue per client that'll make me feel like it's worth my time. Because if we go back to, where do I want to go? If we go back to Piixel and what I have right now with the plans, generally speaking, the people that are going to come to me for the most part are going to be people that are just kind of starting out. They just want a website, and you know, that's at the starter pack of, you know, $3,000 a month. It even like $1,200 a month or what have you, it could still end up being enough of a work that, you know, it eats up into any kind of profits or whatever very, very quickly. So these are pretty low ticket items. So all that being said, let me get my pencil. Are we good to go here? Okay, so we're good to right here. How's that showing up? Is that showing up well? I think that's showing up pretty good. Okay, so let's... Let's undo that. Let's create a new layer. Let's actually... Can I increase this? Actually, there's probably a keyboard shortcut for that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So... Where's my mouse? My thing keeps disappearing here. Okay, come on. What's my pen? It's not working anymore. Oh, there it goes. Oh, there we go. Oh my, it's being very, very choppy. Oh, this is not good. Okay. No, it's still being choppy. Why is this being so choppy? Oh, sorry guys. This is like unusable. I don't know. You can't really tell here, but this is being really choppy. I can't even see where my mouse is going because it's hopping around. Oh, this is super frustrating. Oh, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll just try a Word doc. I didn't want to use a Word doc for this because I wanted to draw out a few different things, but shoot. that's not working. I have to figure out what's wrong with that. Maybe it's Photoshop. Maybe it's taking up too much memory or something while I'm live streaming. I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about, we'll just say Piixel Media. I'm just going to zoom in here. Okay. So maybe even a little bit more. So you guys can see this. Okay. So right now I would say there's, I can say, what are the current problems? Hey Maru, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome, welcome. So you're still picking challenging ways to do plans and proposals. I think you just mean in terms of like my stupid tablet not working anymore and trying to write things out. If that's the case, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, some tech issues there. But in terms of proposals and plans, I don't know. Probably. I always make things more difficult than they have to be. Sometimes for me, just talking things out helps. I know sometimes when I'm dealing with technical issues and I'm having an issue, and then I like start writing an email to somebody and I start talking it through as I'm writing. So it really makes me focus on exactly what problem I'm trying to solve. And then I end up solving the problem just by just typing out the email. So sometimes that helps me. But this is more of a problem of, what direction do I take the company or the main part of the company? So I'm just trying to figure that out. So yeah, the current problems with Piixel Media. So right now, I appreciate that. That being said too, I'm certainly not the expert of, pretty much of anything, I guess I would say. So I always have the open ear and the open mind to take in information to try to, shortcut the problems. Okay. So yeah, Piixel Media. So I think there's I have a lack of a target audience. Lack of target audience and a limit to how much I can command per client. Right? If I'm just talking about building a WEBFLOW website for somebody, there is a very small, there's a maximum amount there. Yes, there could be some of these bigger companies that need a bigger website, but they're not really going to find me and they're not going to really come to me because the way that my marketing, the way that my messaging is, it's not about solving that particular problem, right? So a big client isn't going to have a problem of, I need a website. There's going to have a much deeper problem that they're going to need to solve within their company in order to hire somebody to do a much deeper dive, right? Like the problem is more than just a website, right? It's we're having problems converting X, Y, and Z, or we're having some internal issue with whatever process. We need someone to come in and fix that process. And if whatever fix is doing some doing some optimizations or whatever on a website, that's solving that specific problem. You know what I mean? It's not so much of a website. So then you can command more money that way by solving that specific problem as opposed to just a generic website. So that's what I think I need to find is I need to really niche down into solving a specific set of problems for a specific set of people. And hopefully that specific set of people have deep pockets. So that's what we're going to kind of work on here. So this is what I thought of in terms of what I can do to move forward. And again, this is really thinking about, if Piixel Pieces in itself doesn't really quite work, and I don't seem to get the traction I want to get after a few months of really marketing and really trying to get going, because I do need to bring in money somehow with clients. So this is what I'm suggesting. And I would really, really love to hear your feedback here into what you think about this. So my idea is to, maybe I'll just speak to this without writing so I can maybe get a little bit of clarity out here. My academic background, my history has always been dealing with academics and academia and being in various universities. And that's kind of my bread and butter. I kind of know how they function, how the money works and how funding works and kind of how they operate and the challenges that they face. And what I found throughout my career since 1999, I've been basically in and out of university. So that's like, 25 years basically. And the one underlying problem that I found that they always have, that all these institutions have, is they are not the greatest at being able to communicate and convey the work that they do to the general public. So it's really basically thinking about science communication. So here in Canada, for instance, like billions of dollars, like every year, are sunk into universities where they're given lots of government money, which at the end of the day is public money. So public money, the people have a right to know what the hell their money is being spent on. So all this money is being dumped into these academic institutions to do a bunch of research or whatever the hell it is that they do. And where that money goes and what are the outcomes of this money, it's like a black hole trying to find this. And like I said, these institutions do relatively poor job of disseminating that information. And I don't want to tackle this position on the institutional level, although I think there could be some merit in doing that. But I'm thinking a few steps down, going at the researcher level or the researcher organization level. So there's a researcher or a specific group of researchers that get funding. Say they get like this $10 million grant or whatever the hell the case may be. And they get money and they have to develop specific projects or whatever. If they can go to an agency like Piixel and say, hey, listen, we have all this funding and we need to do XYZ in order to communicate what it is that we do and to let everyone else know that what we're doing, what have you. And this is even what we need to do while this project is being run, which is usually, it's like a 3-year project or 5-year timeline, whatever the case may be. And we need to have certain tools in place to be able to make all of this work. So if I could provide that service to this organization or to these organizations, I think that could be, number one, it will be valuable to the people that are on the ground, to the researchers, but it'll also be a much higher ticket item than it would be just designing somebody's website, right? So, because like all these groups, they definitely need websites, obviously at the end of the day, because they have to communicate what they're doing. But even the whole idea of how to do that effectively, having a website might not even be the best way. There's different things that you can do creatively for going to trade shows, going to research conferences, the way they publish certain news articles and papers, the way they do interviews. There's different podcasting things. There's video production. There's all kinds of things that go into this whole science communication thing. So that's what I'm thinking of pivoting Piixel to really focusing, number one, on my strengths as, throughout my career, I've been working in these academic institutions, but also to tap into, I guess, my love of, doing things that are creative. So that's what I was thinking, basically, of pivoting. So the idea would be I'd have to it wouldn't be too hard to do. It'd probably take me maybe about a week or two to do, but it would be to rebuild this website in a way where it's just like, we help scientists tell your story to the world or whatever, try to frame it in a way of what their problem is, right? And so it's not necessarily that we design websites, but we help you as a scientific researcher or research organization tell your story to the world, right? And then how do we do that? Well, that's into the details, but we do that by building interactive websites, by making educational material easy to understand and playing in English. So there could be some writing aspects to it. And developing creative assets that help resonate the message, all those kinds of things. that I've basically done throughout my career in the academic institutions. So yeah, so that's my thoughts. But my problem that I have, there's like a couple problems that I see. And number one being, if I try to focus on this, it's again, am I doing too much? Because I have Piixel Pieces, which is, if we look at Piixel Pieces right now, built it, it's ready to go. I need to start promoting this. I need to start getting the word out there so that, hopefully people join and I can make a success out of this. Am I, again, splitting myself too thin in terms of like, oh, well, let me pivot Piixel here? And this is where I always fear that I have this problem. And a lot of entrepreneurs have this problem of the whole shiny object syndrome. It's like, hey, here's the thing that would be cool. Here's a thing that will be cool. Maybe I'm going to do this. Maybe I'm going to do that. So I'm thinking there's quite a bit of that going on here, and I don't want to have that. But I'm also aware in my mind that if Piixel Pieces doesn't work, I still have to feed my family. So that's a consideration. And there's also a consideration as well too that, the quote that I made about a month ago or so that I put out there, still waiting to hear back from the client, that would be the exact type of client that I'm looking for. So that quote was I think it was a $30,000 quote to do that work, but that's the kind of work that I think I'm best suited for. Yeah, so Maru, what are you saying here? Science-oriented agency, much greater, or well, no, I should say much greater. Maybe this is me interpreting this, greater than Piixel Pieces. So you think that idea has a lot more potential than Piixel Pieces? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I don't know if this is, again, I don't know if this is my bias speaking. But again, I look at universities, and I look at even the university that I was just from, Dalhousie, just like one project from one university. Oh, I guess this could be a combination of universities, but it's almost $200 million. Like, it's insane the amount of money. And that's one university. And what about all the universities in Canada, let alone in the United States? How much money gets funneled in there? So you're saying, no, Piixel has more potential, but you need a team, a lot of cash for promo, et cetera. You're up against Reloom and the likes. So I think that's what you said, right? So the idea behind creating a science-oriented agency has more. Oh, so you're saying Piixel Pieces might have more potential, but it might be more difficult to get it off the ground or to get a foothold in the space because I'm competing against Reloom, Flowbase, and all those AI tools. Right. Yes, that's what you're saying. Well, that's interesting. It's a really interesting point of view, because if something has more potential than the other, shouldn't you not focus on the thing that has the most potential, even if it's harder? Yeah, I don't know. So then but then what always comes into my mind is it's almost like how I'm working right now, right? Where I have clients, they come into the door, I do work for them, and it's all well and good. And it helps pays the bills, and it allows me to kind of work on Piixel Pieces and kind of develop this as I'm developing things. But if I focus my agency on getting these higher ticket, clients, that I could use that money to help fund Piixel Pieces or something that's similar to that does have that higher potential to get that recurring revenue or whatever the case may be, and then maybe move away, eventually from that client work. Right. So I think we're talking the same language here. Piixel is something you do after you complete a couple of science websites, so you can invest some cash in marketing. Otherwise, you're left without a solid cash flow and a half-baked marketing strategy for an incomplete product. Well, I don't know if I would say my product is half complete, but yeah, there's always lots of things that could do to make it better. And obviously, I think, yeah, if you look at Piixel Pieces as it is right now, and you go in and you compare it to the Reloom library, yeah, I mean, point well taken. Like, this is where I have my problems. Like, why would you just go to Reloom? Like, just go there, because their stuff is, there's just more. I'm not going to say the components are necessarily better, but just that their library as a whole is more polished and they have more things, right? So, because building an actual Webflow component, it's not like it's rocket science, right? So, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, so I'm torn. I'm just torn between. Well, it's not even torn, but I'm just not sure what I should focus on. It's like, do I just take 4 months and just dump everything I can into Piixel Pieces? Or do I almost kind of continue as I'm doing now, where, I have my agency, my creative agency, maybe pivot a little bit to work on getting these science guys in the mix, seeing if I can land a client or two that way. And then kind of slowly, and just, I don't know, just working on Piixel Pieces on the sideline. Yeah, in practice, I'm always selling things. Yeah, it doesn't matter if Reloom is better or not. It's just who has more reach. Yeah, so basically you can sell your library with tons of Facebook ads, but it's an investment. Well, that's the thing too. We're running ads right now. And actually, I should probably take a look at this because I haven't seen how it's done in the past 2 days. And yeah, I was just trying to figure out what's the happy median here in terms of how much it's going to cost to actually get a customer. So we spent so far, I guess in the past, let's say last 14 days. Yeah, we spent $111 and that hasn't resulted in one customer as of yet. So we're getting decent click-through rates. So that's the thing. I mean, right now, if I knew I could spend $1,000 and I would get, $1,500 back, then I would do it, because that's just straight mathematics. But I don't know what this is yet, which is why we're kind of going slow here. Although now that we took it down into only targeting people that aren't on mobile, the clicks are going down quite a bit. But I think, like, my strategy as well with Piixel Pieces is not so much to go with ads, but it's to go with the long game of creating value for people. Because what I'm working on right now are a bunch of videos that are just teaching videos, right? Like how to use WEBFLOW, how to use Piixel Pieces with WEBFLOW, how to build components, how to use components to build websites faster. So things that people who build websites are going to search for on YouTube, they can find me and then be like, hey, I like this guy. And then, hey, maybe I'll try out Piixel Pieces kind of thing. It's a long game. It's a very long, drawn out process, but that's kind of how you have to play if you don't want to always have to rely on paid traffic. Yeah, so I hear you. With Facebook ads, you need a lot of initial cash to burn for trying out different ads, formats, audience, etc. So basically, you need to burn a couple grand for starters. I mean, I have a couple grand to burn if I knew that was the right way to go, But even like for me, like I've never run Facebook ads before, so yeah. And at the end of the day too, it's like I need to make sure that the product, like you're saying, I need to make sure the product is sound. If I'm running a bunch of ads and people come to Piixel Pieces and they pay and then they hate it or they don't use it or it's not really meeting their needs. So that's the other thing too. It's making sure that there's good product market fit. So I don't know if burning a lot of money on those ads is the best thing to do right now. Because I would love to, I'm still struggling to try to get people to give me feedback, even if people have signed up for free. So yeah, it's interesting. To say the least. All right. So I know there's a couple other people here on the stream too. So if you do have any opinions, please do let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Because I feel like I'm split down the middle. I'm split in the middle of just focus the next 4 months on Piixel Pieces, like 100%, put all your energy into that. And then the other part of me is like, hey, listen, you're going up against big players in the space. You know, keep doing what you're doing, work on it a couple hours a day, but don't neglect your meal ticket in the sense of your agency, which is what's helping you pay the bills in the first place. So keep that going. You can do both at the same time and just try not to burn out. So I'm like split on both of those. And I think maybe too, I just need to like take a really good look at my finances and say like, listen, this is how much runway I actually have, where I know that if I get no more clients at all for the next, 6 months, I'm fine. But then there's also like, well, how long does it take to get clients as well too? So big ticket clients also take, it's not a one call and then you made a sale too, right? So there's lots of give. Yeah, I'll give you some feedback for sure. Just need to wrap up some work and give it a try. Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate anything. Yeah, I appreciate any help from anyone. So thank you. So yeah, let me write down my thoughts here. Well, I can't have this. So what is this thing doing? Yeah, no device connected. Yeah, no, thank you for just dying on me. So I think you should stop gunning for projects. So I'll tell you first and foremost, if what you're talking about is gunning for projects like web design projects and all that stuff, I haven't done that since I started. So I don't go out looking for projects. So I agree with you on that one. Because even if you can't complete them yourself, you can always hire. What you can't do is bring back lost opportunities in the form of high ticket sites. Right. Well, anyone that comes in where I know that it's going to be a high ticket site, I'm definitely going to be talking to them and trying to negotiate with those clients. 100%. But yeah, people that just want like, hey, I just need a site for a couple thousand. It's like, no, I literally don't have time for that. But yeah, I guess the crux of my problem and what I'm trying to decide on is, do I try to focus on building a product or do I try to focus on building the agency? Like, which do I focus? Or do I do a hybrid approach like what I've been doing right now? And am I somehow being blinded by shiny objects syndrome where I was working on Piixel Pieces and now it's live and I need to push myself out of my comfort zone to try to grow something. But I'm like, hey, look over here. That's hard. I don't want to try to do that. Maybe I'll do something else that I might know. Lots of things that I'm kind of worried about. So you don't, but someone else might though. You might want to consider positioning yourself as more of a manager. Yeah. And then but that's where it goes into the whole thing of where I need to build a team, which takes up a lot of time as well too. And that's something that I don't know how good I am at that or how good I will be at that initially. But I do know if I do go after bigger ticket science people, that I definitely will have to have a team. That one for sure. Yeah, if you delegate work 5 times $2,000 for sites. Take 50%. That's still, yeah, free. Well, it's not so much free money in terms of I still need to put my name on it, and the people that I get to work under me, they definitely need to be at a certain level of quality that I approve. But that being said, I don't have that many people. I'm not turning down that many people for building websites. So I can say that right now. If I did have like that many people knocking down my door right now to build those websites, I would 100% have hired someone by now or two or whatever, how many it would take to be able to take on those contracts. So I just know that, like, a lot of people that have come on my door are new entrepreneurs. They don't have a lot of money. They want to have a website, and they're like not even willing to put up that much money. So it's, and that's where the idea in my head came into building Piixel Pieces and building templates. So I could be like, hey, you know what? Grab a template, it's a couple $100, get your website up and running. And then when you're ready to talk about doing something a little bit more custom to more suit your needs, then we'll talk. Yeah. And then that's another question too is, it's a lot harder to get 5 clients. Well, I don't know about this. I guess my experience, I feel like it's a lot harder to get 5 clients at $2,000 than 1 client at $10,000. I've had more success getting the $10,000 client than the $2,000 client. That's just my personal experience. Could be different for other people, of course. But I just find the $2,000 clients they're just cheap to begin with. And when people just value money above, the outcomes, it just makes for really hard work. But anyways, totally hear your point. Totally valid of just outsourcing work. Okay. Okay, let's see. Focus on scientific communication problem. Communicating the what, how, why of science. Outcomes, benefits to society, etc. All that good stuff. Hopefully good stuff. Science is, well, anyways, I won't get into too much of it. Pure science is good that is done with integrity and without bias. It's good. But not all science is created equal. Right. So basically helping groups or researchers disseminate their work. And that could look, they need data management, definitely websites, media, communications, and you could even go public relations as well. And then it's also government and also funding agencies. Because at the end of the day, academics are always all about, they got to get the next money. Where's the next money going to come from? And they need to demonstrate to the people that they're asking for funding why their work is actually worth being funded. So they have to demonstrate the outcomes and show the outcomes. Can you explore an angle where you build website experiences that help people get grants easier, like project explainers? I think I know what you're coming from. Let me think about this for a second. Yeah. I wonder if this is more of what you're thinking is more in the wheelhouse of like people that have ideas that are looking for that early stage investor. Like they're doing investment pitches. It's very similar when you have an idea of like a project or a product that you want to pitch to an investor, but instead of pitching to an investor, you're pitching to the government, right, for money. And there's slightly different. I think there's a difference in how you pitch to the audience. But there's something to be said about how can you make it easier for people to be successful in their proposals. And some grant proposals are crazy. Like it takes like multiple researchers, lots of time to put these proposals together. Like there's some of them are like hundreds of pages. Like it's crazy. What I wrote is exactly what you said. I should just wait because we're more or less on the same page. Yeah, no, it's really it's a really fascinating area. I'll say truthfully right now, I don't know how good I would be at that. I guess I don't know, because I've actually never have successfully put together a proposal like all by myself for like a grant, right? I've helped write small things here and there or what have you that have been successful. So am I the guy that a group is going to come to say, hey, listen, hang on a second. That being said too, I've had things where the funding agencies or the deciders had to come together. So I put together like videos for them so that they can see. So I have done that stuff before. So maybe I don't want to sell myself too short, but that's very interesting. That's even more niche too. Let's put this down here in the sense of how to help researchers convey their project proposal to increase chances of funding. I mean, if you can go to a researcher and be like, hey, listen, everyone that comes to Piixel Media or whatever the hell the company's called, every researcher or research group that comes to us and then we create materials for them, that increases their chance of having a successful proposal by like whatever, 40%. It's almost a no-brainer because these guys are putting out proposals. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars here, right? A lot of money. But one problem could be the fact of generally when someone's writing a proposal is because they don't have any money. So would they be able to pay me to be able to do this or pay my team or whatever? Because this wouldn't just be me. That would be kind of the issue. Is like, where's that coming from? Unless we do some type of deal where it's like, if you get this funding, then I get a certain percentage of it or whatever. But that's also very dangerous because the way that these funding proposals go is you can't pay for these abstract things. You have to put in all your line items and all the things you're going to pay for. And then there's auditing and all this kind of government nonsense that goes on with that. But it's very interesting. Yeah, maybe transform existing proposals into beautiful experiences that would convert better. Right. So like if you're writing a proposal or they have it, can we disseminate this into like almost like a bite-sized, hey, what's the 2-minute video that we can distill this into, or this interactive like one-pager, like this nice scrolling one-pager website kind of thing, right? With a bunch of interactive elements or whatever that's super visual that can catch people's attention. Almost think of like a website that will like, win awards or whatever. It's like, wow, this is super stunning. Or like, oh, if this product existed, there was one website too that I remember seeing. You were scrolling into it. It was like I don't know if it was some type of like fake. I think it was like a fake crypto cold storage device or something like that, where you'd scroll, it would like have all these amazing animations or whatever it was, and it looked beautiful. And at the end, I'm like, I have to have this. But then they're like, haha, just kidding, this thing doesn't exist, but this is a cool website or something like that. It was phenomenal. And I was like, I have to buy this. And even I was like, so something like that, that would be pretty cool. That would be really cool. So the hook would be the fact that the people that give funds are regular rich people. Yeah, they're not scientists. So basically they would find large text proposals boring and uninspiring. Right. So I think that's fantastic. And I agree 100%. And I think that's more in line with, it could be even researchers that are developing IP and they want to kind of spin their thing into an actual company. A lot of researchers do that. They'll develop new tech or whatever, doing their pure research. And then they take that research and then they start to develop it. And they spin off their own company, which is fantastic. But it seems like that would be more specific or more tailored to, again, like pitching to people that are like angel investors into some type of idea, into some type of company that they want to have, which I think also definitely has merit, because the people that are making the decisions on these really large proposals, and I'm talking like 9-figure proposals, they're people that are like in the government, right? They're not they're in the government. So yeah, they probably are rich, but they're not like, I'm just a billionaire that just wants to know how I'm going to spend my money. Like they're just the government agency, whatever, gets together and they decide. So it's a little bit different that way. You need a general case study statistic that compares multimedia campaigns versus bland text campaigns. Like landing page X gets more money on average. Doesn't have to be your stat. Yeah, just general. Yeah, for sure. And then that's how you start the sales process and the marketing campaign. It's like, hey, listen, this just gets more conversions, or in this case, more money or more funding. So there you go. But the thing is too, when you're pitching as just more of a founder than a researcher, is at least from what I've learned from people that manage angel funds, is that way more important than the idea is the actual person and the team. So they look at who the person is as opposed to what the idea is. So if the person is, I don't know, a really horrible person, or they look like they don't have the right skills to be able to lead a team or lead this idea into something that's going to be profitable, they're not going to invest. Maybe no matter how good the actual website is. At least from what I heard anyways, which is kind of interesting. Kevin, how's it going? Welcome. Welcome to the, bi-weekly or bi-monthly, trying to figure out what to do, kind of sit down discussion. Just trying to figure out business and what the appropriate course of action is going to be. But anyways, Maru, no, I like this. It's just trying to think about how to pare this down. But that marketing would be so powerful, even whether it's helping people get funding or whether you're on the other end of, once you have funding, how do I make sure that everybody knows that this funding was well spent, and wow, look at all the outcomes of this project. This project was the most amazing thing ever. All the media coverage, everything that goes with that. Which I think that also in turn will help you get even more money. So that could be a long-standing thing, assuming, we take this direction, this scientific company, where we can definitely say, like, of the people that have worked with us, 95% of them get refunded and have this much of an easier time getting additional funding, because the world knows how important this research is. And then the politicians that at the end of the day kind of make the decision on who gets funding and who doesn't, there's that what's the word I'm looking for? Like the constituents, like just the average everyday people know about things and talk to their members of parliament or whatever, saying, yes, this is stuff that we want, our country or whatever to work on, right? So the money flows a lot easier. So that could be another angle. And I wonder if we could tackle both at the same time. Okay, I'm talking here, but let me start writing some stuff. Although this is like recorded, so I guess I could always watch this back and take notes as I listen to myself talk. Okay. Kevin, how's the website going? It's Thursday. You got 3 more days. 3 more days to finish. Hopefully you're getting some good sleep, even though you're going to bed at 4 a.m. Okay. So how to help researchers convey their project proposal and increase their chances of funding. I'm just going to say there's 2 sides of the equation. Before a group gets funding, help them. And after they get funding. And then there's which would be most beneficial slash align with my current skills. And so after funding, we can help them just like increase the visibility of their work through websites, media, etc., which can also help them get more funding, right? There's always like almost listen to like every research paper if you read them. And at the end, it's like, well, if we had more funding, we could do this. Like it's like almost every research paper. It kind of, not everyone, but a lot of them. It's like, well, we need to do more work. We need to do more research. Well, of course you need to do more research, right? But how do you do more research? You need to make sure that people understand why it's important to do more research. So I don't know. So it's good. Worked on it from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. Well, that's not bad. 4 a.m. in the morning? Or I hope that that's not 4 a.m. to another like 27 hours. That would be crazy. Almost done with content, then responsive. Yeah, that's good. The responsive stuff, that's not so bad. That only takes like a little bit of time because if everything was done correctly with the right, paddings and margins on every page or whatever, it's just you do it for one page and it pretty much does it for all. So that should go quick. So good job. Good work. Okay. Right. So before funding, just going to put, again, this is really rough here, so don't beat me up too much on these notes. Before funding, think about entrepreneurs or even like researchers with IP looking to turn their research into a business, right? It's their application of the application of their research. So we help them get funding by easily, visually, whatever. Visually communicating like their science, their technology, and the benefits of their eventual product, or what they kind of foresee that they're going to build with their research. Yeah, we help you get your funds, explain your work, and then get more funds. Yeah, it's like, it's kind of funny putting it like that, but that's like that's kind of the process. It's that we become so fundamental to your team in a sense that we're constantly just helping you. Just you do your work and let us do all the boring stuff that you as a scientist don't give two shits about, but is what's critical in order to facilitate the conveying of the information to the public and to the stakeholders and to the politicians and eventually the people that decide on whether you get money or not. So it's just that's this kind of loop, and we're just like, I don't know what it is. If it's like a bicycle or like the chain or whatever, we just keep pedaling. I don't know, whatever it is, but yeah, 100%. I like it. Lucas, greetings from Argentina. How you doing today? Tell me the question that titles the video. I think you should hire some people in Argentina. Many successes. Yeah, like I want to. How is Argentina doing these days? I want to visit. Just with like your new president and all the stuff that he's talking about. I'd love to know how things are going on the ground and what your experience are like. Our website could be the difference between failing in obscurity or saving the world. Yeah, that's kind of cool because yeah. The thing about scientists as well too is, oh my goodness, like I'm not going to say this for every single person because it's not true, but professors and stuff, they have a pretty big ego. If you stroke that ego and just get them talking, yeah, like everyone's their work is the most important work in the world, and without their work, the floodgates are going to open in a sense. So, yeah, if you can get them, could put, yeah. How can you, let's see, how can we say this? Lean into researchers wanting to save the world. We can help you spread that message. That the world needs you. That's a little, okay, definitely unrefined here, but part of the messaging. Yeah, no, yeah, the meaning is, yeah, I totally get you. These are in quotes here, and like, you can just flesh that out, and definitely more details. If we assume we should do this. So, I don't know, we've been going on this for a while, and I'm actually kind of having a lot of fun talking about this. So Lucas, like what I'm saying here in terms of the whole, what do I do with Piixel, and what do I do moving forward? Do we pivot Piixel into doing this? I mean, again, building, at least for me, like if we build a landing page or a website that's like showing this new direction, like this probably, I want to say it'll take like a week, but let's give it 2 weeks, like 2 weeks and live streaming for 2 weeks of getting this done. We can have a new website that illustrates all of this. And then the marketing for this would be probably, I would 100% focus, not 100%, but 95% sure this is what I would do. I would focus on writing LinkedIn articles that are all about reaching out to scientists and just saying, this is how you can make your research more accessible to people, or how to convey what it is that you're doing to the general public, how to convey your message in a way that people are going to understand and resonate, and do those kinds of posts on LinkedIn. I think that's how I would market this thing. And then, of course, I know a lot of people in the academic space, and I'd be like, hey guys, people at the different institutions or whatever on campuses, and I say like, hey, I have this new business. We're targeting scientific people here. Go nuts. And it's easy enough to get into the eyes of academic people. anyways, I guess because I know the space anyway, so maybe that's kind of my competitive advantage. It's like that ad by Code Academy. Write the first line of code that will change the world. Yeah, it's yeah, it's a little cheesy, but it works. I haven't actually seen that ad by Code Academy, but yeah, I mean, one line of code is a little cheesy, but it gets the point across. Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, especially with marketing and advertising, right? You're playing on like emotions, right? You want to get someone to feel something. You know, you're not selling like you're selling people on a dream, right? You're not selling like the object or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not a Jordan. What's that guy's name? Jordan Belfort or whatever. The Wolf of Wall Street guy, the like king of sales, all those kind of gurus. Although I would say Alex Hormozy seems like a really good salesman. And also the guy who wrote, what's his face? Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference. He's not so much of a salesman, but he was that negotiator. So How to Negotiate. Very, very good book. But there's some kind of tactics, not tactics, but well, I guess you could call them tactics, I guess, but things to use when you are like talking to people and how to engage with them to make them kind of understand your point of view. Okay. All right. So, okay. Helping researchers convey their project, increase chances of funding. There's two sides to the equation. And yeah, definitely thinking about this entrepreneurs. I just maybe like two audiences. I didn't write this down, but maybe two audiences. So academics and groups. So a lot of groups, a lot of different researchers, they all come together and they form their little group or whatever, and then they come together and then they try to get funding as this kind of new group, and they create their new acronym group or whatever, blah blah blah. And there's like so many in institutions, but anyways, those kinds of groups that come together and they get pockets of funding. And then the other things are I guess you could almost say science-based like not like innovation, but startups and researchers. But again, I guess you could say this is more on the it's almost like private sector versus public sector almost, right? Like academics is all public research, publicly funded, what have you. And obviously people do research when it's private, but I'm not going to get into that at all, like within an actual company. So that's different because they're doing their own research and development to further their own product. So they don't quite need my help for this kind of stuff. So yeah, anyways, the public space and then the private space, which again, yeah, people looking to the billionaire, you know, to pitch their idea to the billionaire, much different than pitching the idea to the government. But the messaging could be both. I mean, yeah, that's tough. No, I would want to focus on one versus the other. Not to say that one can't come. Like I would focus on this one for now because I know, well, okay, let's not make any haste decisions. Let's think about it. But yeah, this is definitely more my wheelhouse, but I could definitely see the potential for this. Like, oh my God, could you just imagine if you could actually convey the information of, you know, people that come with us have a 55% greater chance of getting funding. Like that's huge. That's huge. I could just see that on the whole page. Then like every startup would be like, work with me, work with me, work with me. Because why not? Especially if you can help them get that funding, right? Because so many companies are, they're looking for that. They're looking for that funding. But that's a big thing. There's lots more that's involved with that than just having a good, pitch deck or like a nice fancy website. But I guess what I'm thinking, the science is even a little bit different too, because when someone's pitching out like a social media platform, it's like, oh, I want to make this place where people can watch videos. It's like, okay, I kind of get that. Like every random person gets that. But when it's something that's like a more complex scientific principle and you're trying to explain like what that principle, like why researching this thing would kind of be good for society in a sense, that's a little bit more abstract. And you got to be able to convey complex scientific principles or mechanics or whatever in plain English so that people can kind of understand them, be like, oh yes, okay, I understand. And there's some really good science communicators out there that do a really good job of it. Like, what's that guy? Michio Kaku? I'm not sure how to pronounce his first name, but he's really, really good. Crazy awesome physicist. Okay. So going back to the whole point of this video, should I focus on kind of pivoting Piixel and trying to, target these scientists or what have you and helping them with getting research funding or funding through whatever method? Should I focus on doing that while still trying to grow Piixel Pieces? Or should I just stick with Piixel Pieces for 4 months and just give it 110% just on this? Oh, boy. And am I doing the shiny object syndrome where I'm just chasing the next thing? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because this is here. I do need work. If a $50,000 contract came on my lap, that would be fantastic, because that would extend my runway, because I don't have that much money saved up that I can go on indefinitely. And cultivating these types of contracts can take time. Especially the way that universities work, it could be 2 months of, from contact to final sale contract, and then from there the money flows. It could take some time. Just think about how many new science AI startups will pop up in the next couple of years. What do you mean by that in terms of like AI startups? Like, are you talking about, like what would these companies do? Would they be using AI to help them like actually do their science? Like, there's lots of different ways to go about that. AI in itself is just a whole new field of science. But it's an interesting point in terms of how this agency, if I move forward with this, how it can use AI to help do the work that we need to do, which would be very useful. Yeah, so anything that already exists and then add AI to it. I wonder if, mineral research with AI or whatever, like everyone trying to mix whatever it is they're doing and just add AI to it. There's another multi-million-dollar company. I wonder if, I think I was hearing about this somewhere, but I tend not to listen to too much AI stuff these days. I don't know why that is. Maybe because I'm just not scared of it, but just, I don't know, maybe I watch too many Terminator movies or whatever. But it feels like AI might be, like, could it be the next like .com bust in the sense that everyone's trying to do like, hey, I can do this with AI, I can do that with AI. And then people are going to start realizing that, oh, you know what? Well, yeah, AI is really good and it does stuff really well that, we need it to do, but doesn't mean like every business is going to be beneficial with AI. Like, I wonder, do you know what I mean? If it's just like, okay, well, everyone just pump the brakes with AI stuff. But that being said, I don't know. I don't think so. Like, AI is obviously not going anywhere, and it's just getting better. So like, who knows where it's gonna be? It's crazy. Oh, you agree? 100%. It will fail spectacularly. At least the mainstream part. Yeah, because I mean, most average people, like my family, like they know of AI. Well, I guess my family. I mean, my kids don't even have smartphones or anything like that. So that's maybe not the greatest example. But like my wife and stuff, is like, what do I need AI for? Doesn't do anything for me. Yeah. Anyways, it's interesting. It's really cool to see what's going to happen. But yeah, I think, I agree. Is that everyone's going to want to incorporate it somehow, and then they're going to realize like, yeah, this doesn't really do much. Because even when you use AI to do things for you, you still have to use your own thing. Like, it's a great tool right now, like to help you get started writing or whatever and doing some preliminary research. But you got to have your own brains and you got to do your own work to like make sure that what the hell it's given you is actually going to work. 100%. Doesn't mean a bunch of people aren't going to get funding from it. They'll need some help from me. That would be nice. Happy to take some of that money, some of that AI money. Very interesting. All right. Well, it's 2:00, or it's just about 2:00. I have a call at 2:00 with a client, so I'm gonna have to end it here. Maru, thank you so much for the chat and for helping out. I really appreciate it. Lucas, thanks for stopping by. Kevin, keep plugging away at the website. Hope everything goes well. Thanks once again. I'm gonna think on this, and maybe we'll touch base tomorrow. Well, obviously I'll touch base tomorrow, and kind of after I thought a little bit more about it, and we'll just connect tomorrow, and we'll just keep moving forward. Until then, thanks again so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.